record now. Okay, let's go. Let's dive in. So I'm inspired to do this, to hold this work talk and to deliver it and be with you in this, because there's something in me that I noticed that, like, although I've gone through initiation rites of passage, especially with this context of possibility management, I can still, like, I have noticed that I can still get trapped into this state of expecting from the outside something, like that it will be delivered to me, or waiting for my rescuer to appear on his white horse with his shining armor. And that's quite an old part of me. But there's a time for everything. There's a time to be princess and there's a time to be queen, as you all know, I assume, because you're here, you're ready. So there's this time to be princess when we're little, right? When we're small. Like, who of you had a father that they looked up to and were like trying to please? Yep. Yeah. Thank you. And that's what happens with a lot of girls, right? Like, we grow up and the first male figure we really orient towards is our dad, and then we employ these strategies to be nice and to have a certain way of talking, like looking, like with our eyes, doing things with our eyes. We all might have a slightly different strategy, or looking from down below up to that man or to this person. And also, but that could also be any other authority figure. Like, it's so ingrained after a while. And that princess state includes that as a princess, I'm not taking responsibility. As a princess, I have this voucher, this free ride ticket to be the victim of my circumstances, to blame others for what happens to me. And that can be very, like, this can be subtle. I mean, we'll all be on a different part of our journey, but it can be where we're angry at society for what they're doing, like blaming the society at large, blaming modern culture, blaming men, blaming our boss, blaming our colleagues. And that's free ticket. When I'm a princess, I can blame others and expect them to deliver to me whatever I want. And the thing I noticed about being a princess as well is not only wanting them to do what I want, but wanting them to read my mind about what I want, especially in relationship with men. So with the princess thing, is there's nothing wrong with it, but there comes a time in our lives where it just doesn't serve us, because what we're born with is this innate power. I call it sovereign power. And what I mean with that is not the power of a monarch in our culture. Like a monarch would be, like Queen Elizabeth, that reigns from her throne and has these subjects. And a subject is basically like a subject. What's a subject? That's something she owns, basically, right? Or she owns land. She owns, like a monarch that owns land, that owns subjects, that owns people, and thereby has this power over. What I mean is this power from within, and that is, like, if you look at little babies, it's there already. It's nothing that is connected to age. It's nothing that is connected to gender. It's nothing that is connected to anything material necessarily. It's really this innate power that's within us. And like, as a baby, they already know when they're hungry. They already know when they're not happy with something. They'll just scream your ears off for that, right? And all they need to learn is how to be, like, how to get along, how to, like, survive in material ways in this world. But so that's the innate power that I'm talking about. It's like our power to know from within what's alive, what's actually right for me, what's wrong for me, what is it that I need, what is it that I not only need, what is it that I want, and how am I going to get it? Like, which actions do I need to take so that I can go and get it? And that sovereignty, I mean, I was tuning into this and I was thinking, well, that's actually really big. It gets really big. It's like there's different stages, and becoming a queen from the princess stage is this process of growing up, right? So those of I think 5 of you all have done possibility management trainings before, right? I know this from Susanne and Amber and Vivian. How about you, Annika? You as well, right?
Yeah, I did the online Expand the Box.
You did the online
fall.
expand. Okay, cool. And Pauline, you haven't been in
No, I haven't any of those.
So if you have any questions, please jump in and ask. There will be a few
Okay.
words that you might not be able to relate to. So there's this growing up process where we reclaim our feelings and we learn to feel again. And when it becomes like, when I look at that, it starts with myself, but the more I strengthen those muscles, the more I give mass to this authority in me, the more radical it gets. Like, as I was tuning in, I was thinking, well, at the end of the day, it's like, how do I live in a society? How do I live in a culture? And what does it mean that I still pay taxes when I think the state is actually financing all sorts of things that I don't want it to finance? So how, like, reclaiming my authority means also to step into this, queendom of myself and to create, how do I want to live? Like, how do I really want to live? Like, looking at the horizon, how do I really want to live, and what kind of culture am I creating so that it's in tune with my being? Yeah. Vivian, do you have a question? No. Oh. So what most of you then will know or have experienced as well to certain extents is that one major resource that we're sitting on as part of our authority or as an expression of our authority is our feelings. So with the anger energy, I can stand up. I brought my sword because as a queen, I need my sword, right? I don't have just a crown, I also have my sword. And with that sword, I can declare what is, I can declare what is not. I can say yes, I can say no. And that's so key, as I notice how there's certain situations where still today I struggle saying no, simply because there seems to be a certain agreement in the space that if I'm not detecting it early enough, then I notice I'm trying to please. So it's a manipulation game. It's the princess game of trying to please the others so that they get what they want, and then in turn I get what I want. So it's like this unspoken game of, we won't harm each other, but we also won't tell each other what we really want, and then we'll have to figure it out with each other, and we'll do this dance that wastes so much energy. So the anger, like harnessing that power of anger, like really bringing that warrioress alive, is key in order to be able to hold the sovereign power, like to step into that fullness of the power. And then the fear has that capacity of going into the unknown and creating something that hasn't been before. And the sadness for the connection, so being able to connect with you all, and to connect with the land. But what I find most interesting in this queen character, in this queen archetype, or in this queen archetype, is the joy. How do I relate to the joy? How can I harness the joy? And how do I use that to bring forth my sovereign power? Because what essentially happens, and that's what came up, I related that to what we talked about, Amber and Susanne, in our call on Friday, is that this capacity, especially as women, to connect with joy. Like, that's something that's been, and you called it ecstasy, but I mean, that's joy, essentially. And that joy it's such a potent life force. The joy is what can drive us and make us create something that hasn't been here before, because we can envision it. Like, with the joy, we can dream things into life. We can dream things into being. We can and in processes as well, we can call them forth. We can call them out and call them into being. Mm-hmm. And that's so powerful that is what makes essentially the archetype of the queen. And so joy is something that's been severed, right? I've been in this workshop from a Maori woman who said the colonization started not just when white people invented New Zealand, the colonization started when women were cut off from their joy, from their strength. And there has been there's this really sometimes very obvious and sometimes very subtle thing about, joy is a good thing and so on, but it's really a mindfuck, because we're being told verbally joy is a good thing, and then when we're expressing joy fully, it's this thing about, well, you're too happy, something's wrong with you, that's really suspicious that you're so happy. And you're not professional. If you're like, I've heard that in New Zealand a few times, if you're laughing too much at work, you're not working hard enough. I mean, what kind of a mindfuck does that create when at the same time I'm being told joy is okay? Be happy, be happy. You're supposed to be happy, but if you're happy, then it's too much. Like, it's really, get your head around that. And that's just one example of those contradictory messages out there. But reclaiming our sovereignty includes the joy for sure. And I'm coming to believe that it's really one of the most important forces. And I've heard a few women also in the PM context say, yes, so possibility management. Yes, but I don't know where to find my joy. Where is my joy? Do you know that sensation or that impression that you don't know what? Yeah, Susanna?
Yeah, just yesterday I held a process space for a woman who said, I don't even know what joy is, real joy, beyond this conventional, we call it gremlin joy, which is like too loud, too hard, forced joy. And
Yeah.
this makes me very sad.
Makes you sad that, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really curious what you are going to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what kind of joys do you know from your own lives? I'd be curious to hear that. Like, what's your experience with joy? If you want to share a bit about that. What does joy feel like for you?
I think I rather continue something, some distinction. So
Okay.
we talked about this gremlin joy, which is the joy which comes out of a survival context, which is loud, kind of Schadenfreude, and which sometimes need an outer stimulus to be ignited. And like going on a roller coaster and then you shout, and this kind of joy, or bungee jumping joy or so. And then there is the inner joy, which I know, which is much more subtle and which is kind of permanent stream or a permanent light in my life. Like a small, and it's there like a permanent stream of joy going through every movement.
Yeah, thank you for that distinction.
Thank you.
Yeah, I maybe have something to share.
Yes, go, Pauline.
I felt very confused about what is joy for me for a very, very long time. As when I was young, and I started to wondering my identity and how I look like, and handle the changes of my body and everything. And I tried to look pretty for myself, but actually I tried also to be pretty in general. And I felt happy how I looked, but the result was some boys or some men in the street would have make some comment about how I look or how I am and everything. So all that joy I could have of being happy of how I am or how I look always was somehow smashed down by a disrespectful look or comment coming from men or women. So yeah, I had some trouble with this, and the same at school. Like, you have good results. I had good results, but it's not a good thing to celebrate because you can't be better than your friends, or it looks like you just want to please the teacher, or So I couldn't really celebrate, and because I had better results than my brother at that time, I couldn't even share really that in my family. So I tend to reduce my capacity in many ways, and school have been a long process of, yeah, a bit hard time. And I remember even at the final diploma, I couldn't even feel the joy to celebrate that, because yeah, that's the best thing in my life, that school stops, I would say. But I even didn't find the joy in it, just to feel like that's finished. And that's really later years later, when I've been able to travel to exactly shape my life exactly how I wanted, I started to feel joy in the power. I had to remember that I am not a kid anymore, I am not a child anymore, and I can make my own decision, and I can stop whenever I want, and I can go wherever I want. So that's how I feel the joy, and I need to connect to this to feel me, to feel real. So that's how I relate to joy somehow.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And it relates so much to this. Like, for me, what I hear is like, you used to give your, like what we say is give your center to the others. Like, you would feel something or express something, and then you'd screen the others, or you'd get a reaction, and that reaction would impact you, or would have impacted you, which which we've all done, because as human beings, we are herd animals, and when we're, especially when we're young, we need others to survive. Or yeah, in some real ways, and in some imagined. And that process,
really, yeah, no, that's, I totally understand that, and it can totally shape your future, like totally your potential. I've done some art studies, and I really have the feeling that I used to draw better before I started the study than after, because I felt like I've put really my heart into it. I've put my part of me, and I was judged on that. I couldn't, at that time, I couldn't make the difference, but I was really like full on into it. And the perception of others, teachers and schoolmates, were so painful for me to hear and to handle, that I just stopped drawing for years and years and years. And I cut myself to touch this creativity fire I used to have. And that since I'm traveling and I'm feeling myself back to myself with my power of action, that I connect again with my creativity, and I start again to draw and to do things.
Yeah, thank you. And that reminds me, you gave us this beautiful self-painted goddess painting for our sister circle. Pauline joined our sister circle once.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear you're reclaiming that again, like that creative power and the joy for yourself. And I really invite you to take on this distinction that Susanne brought in, that sometimes, the discernment of what kind of joy is it actually? Like, is it this joy where it's almost like I'm wanting it to charge me up, and it might be at the cost of others, like laughing about someone tripping over, or going into like adrenaline rush so that I can feel this high intense energy, and then this other kind of joy which comes from the moment and can be very subtle. I also have that experience, and I want to speak a bit more about that. but it can also be loud. It can also be like this big wave that sweeps over me, and be a loud kind of joy that it's like an overflow of energy. It just, there's this abundance, this feeling of abundance and wanting to give and to give and to give, because there's this abundance of joy and aliveness. I don't know, do any of you know this kind of joy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to share that.
Yeah.
When you asked how we experience joy, I mean, I could even cry now that when I remember many moments being in total ecstasy, just like playing with an animal, or
Yeah. Don't push it away. Yeah.
like just seeing the sunlight on a drop of water and the beauty of it. It's so beautiful. Or just seeing the smile in a face of a person, which is so authentic. It's so, I mean, it touches me so deeply that I feel so much joy, which is sometimes totally overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And it's just a pure joy of life, of being alive. And what makes me so sad is that this is not normal in our footwear. This is not that people can react so strange, and they are like, why are you so intense again? It's like, this makes me sad that the intensity of life is being reduced by some stupid categories and some stupid measures, which is absolutely a violation of the natural expansion of joy. Because ecstasy is not just making love to somebody. Ecstasy is like, I don't know, waking up and taking a cold shower. It's so much pleasure, and it's such a great joy to just feel that aliveness. And so reclaim our ecstatic joy is like, I'm absolutely in.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for bringing your sadness and your anger.
Thank you.
And even if
Thank
they
you.
might, yeah. Yeah, that's
the revolution of ecstatic joy.
Say that again, please.
Maybe we should start a revolution for ecstatic joy.
Yes. Okay. How does it go? Well, we start where we're at. You know, that's the only place where we can start. So I hear, Ember, that you have experience with ecstatic joy. And I hear that you're sad that others, you know, that there's so many people that want to cut that off and put that down, and that we live in a world where this is not the normal state of life or the normal state of affairs, for lack of a better word. And that you're angry that there's so many stupid people cutting that off. So
it really reminds me what I've heard so many times. Like, usually people tell me that I'm too hypersensitive towards life and towards everything. And I always used to reply, but you are not sensitive enough. Because there is so much beauty. Life is so precious. There's so many details around which can bring that joys. Like Ember said, like, it's really, really amazing in some details sometimes. And people just come and they just smash everything down. And to be witness of this creates such a huge contrast between what's vibrate within me and the brutality of being in this world, which really closed me so much to joy. Like it closed the access, because if I start to feel this, I understood, my body understood that someone will put it down. That's for sure. So I'm learning to allow it, and the best way for me to do that is to make sure I'm surrounded by people who are looking for the same kind of energy as me. So it's much more about who am I surrounding by than just being in the whole flow and endure everybody's brutality somehow, violence, like ordinary violence.
Yeah, thank you. And that's certainly a great way of making it safe for oneself to experience the joy, is surrounding yourself with people that can hold that, or that, you know, that don't squash that down. And at the same time, I want to just bring in this distinction that when I talk about, you know, being our sovereign, that includes holding our space in the joy, no matter what the others think or say. That's where it becomes really being the queen of your queendom. That's where you can stand in your power, and it doesn't matter whether someone thinks it's childish. It doesn't matter whether someone thinks it's their problem. And there's a lot of healing. I imagine there's a lot of healing necessity because of our history, or her story. It takes healing to be able to stand there and be ecstatic, joyful, and not let ourselves be pulled down by someone that gets angry at that or squashes that down. And in that journey, it can be I think that's a great, like, to surround yourself with people that have that capacity to hold it, or that want that, like that want to see you in that. And also to reach out to people and say, hey, to go into emotional healing processes, to heal those old experiences that get triggered, or get, you know, we're reminded of when we're joyful in it, and someone looks at us just a certain way. So there's a lot around joy. Actually, I'm noticing that as I speak. I'm not aware that I've gone through, oh no, actually just yesterday, I went through an emotional healing process with you, Amber, where I had this old experience in my body somewhere around being so joyful that I said, in this overflowing state, I must have said something that wasn't appropriate, and I was punished for that in some old life. And it just, like, what was really life in my body was, in my system, was this experience of, if I'm too lively, if I'm too happy, if I'm too alive with my joy as well, then something bad's going to happen. So I better squash it down. So there's some of these experiences run in our system, which, most of you are aware that they run in our system, and they can be related to joy. We can have emotional healing processes to do around joy and around feeling our joy. So that would be a steps to take on the way of reclaiming that sovereignty, of reclaiming that power of ecstasy, the power of ecstasy without drugs. Should have I don't know, a workshop on that or something. And first, let's go through these work exercises here. Yeah, how about you, Annika? What's your experience with joy?
Well, just recently, it's when you kind of connect with the joy of your children, they're just hysterically laughing about something they said, and then you just throw yourself in it, and then you're sitting.
Can you make an I statement out of that?
Okay. Yeah, when I connect with the joy that my children have about, it can be just anything, just some ridiculous thing they start laughing about, and then the whole family just sits and laughs at the dinner table. and it's just like everybody's so full of joy. But also I can also feel joy when, for example, when I'm playing music with other people, and there's this kind of creating together, which is also gives me very much joy. It's like a feeling of connectedness, or that I'm kind of part of something larger, kind of tapping into something kind of universal. That's really nice. It's like a bit of a tingling feeling in the body.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it reminds me of this being connected to something bigger than myself. Like joy is definitely also for me a vessel, like a vessel for that together. And I like together with being switched on, also with the warrior and the lover and the magician and the sorceress, like being so present in the moment that the joy can be there and be held, and then it's like being in this flow state and connected with everything. Yeah. Thank you. How about you, Vivian?
For me also, when I'm playing with my kids or also even another kids, I feel a lot of joy, and I don't care about nobody else. I don't care if they are looking at me, if they are judging me or anything like that. I just don't. I'm so full in the moment playing that yeah, I feel really happy and really joyful to be playing with kids. But it's very different. This feeling of joy and happiness is very different from another kind of joy that I can have, for example. That is not kind of playfulness, but it's more is a deep breathing state. I had that feeling yesterday when I was on the tree, up on the tree, and yeah, and the feeling was very beautiful. The feeling was very, I want to be here with the tree. I want to be here on top. It was so beautiful, but it was a different kind of happiness or joyfulness. It was not as a playful when I have with kids. And it's not always, I don't feel that always. That's something as well. So I don't feel joy all the time or 24 hours a day, or sometimes it's very hard for me to keep feeling. And sometimes I also question myself. So, why am I not feeling joy now? I should be feeling something. Sometimes this also happens to me. I'm questioning myself. And another thing that sometimes happens when I'm very happy, or when I'm showing my intensity with my happiness or my joy that I'm feeling, and I prejudge somebody else's looking at me, I close myself down. I shut down. That's something that happens as well. I shut down straight away. But it's probably is my judging.
Like anticipation of
Yes.
judgment.
But if I think they are judging me, or if they're looking at me somehow, or I boom. Oh, I should not be doing that, or maybe I'm too intense, or I question myself. I double, and I shut down. So different experiences happens to me through to feeling joy or happiness and all that can be very different.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like what I hear there is that giving the center away to like for approval, anticipating, do I look nice? And that's the princess strategy again, you know, how do I look, and will they love me enough that I get from them what I need, which is love or something. Could be. Yeah. And it's essentially, it is an approval game out there, like in so many subtle ways. I can really recommend to observe yourselves in which ways do you still look for approval from the outside for your own survival, for your own appreciation, for your own being loved. And when you look at that, you may notice that it's surprisingly often, and how many other people are doing that. It's an approval game out there. And that doesn't have much to do with, that has nothing to do really with being in our power. Yeah, Amber's just checking her generator. Power, the generator power. Okay. I think it's time to go into an experience. I'll just wait for Amber to come back. Okay. So I have a suggestion for an experiment. Who's in? Without knowing what it is.
Me too.
Pauline, can you say yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Cool. So I want to invite you to feel your joy right now and to make it as big as it can be. So you can start by closing your eyes and remembering a situation from today, from yesterday, from the past week where you felt joy. And yeah, to feel that, to allow yourself to feel where in your body do you feel it. And then when you find that anchor point in your body, to really allow yourself for that to bubble up, come to the surface and to become bigger, and to really allow yourself to drop into your joy if you wish. Feeling in your body what it feels like, and allowing it to be even bigger than that. Yeah, even bigger. And if there's words coming in or thoughts, just push them to the side. Don't engage with them. Stay with your joy. You could remember something in nature. You could remember a smile of your children. Something that make it bigger. Yeah, and when your body starts to shake and your belly starts to laugh, let that happen too. Let the belly rock you. Yeah, keep at it. Open your eyes if you wish, but you can leave them closed and just stay with yourself for now. Really allowing that to bubble up. Like this is like a, belly shaker. Belly shaker that can run through your whole body if you wish. Yes. feeling the energy as it rushes through your system. Yes. Letting that run through, like feeling where in your body does it stop, and then allowing to tune in there and just go with it. Yes. Yeah, and if there's other feelings, you can tend to them later, leave them to the side. Choose the joy door now. Might be others feelings sitting on top. Yeah. Yes, you can go wild if you like. Here's your free ticket to a joyride. Yes. Yeah, notice what other feelings come in, you know, like the fear might come in. So push that to the side and keep with this. Yes, that. See what wants still to be, which joy still wants to be felt. Noticing what happens. Yeah, sending that joy into all cells of your body. And coming back to zero. Feel the echo of the joy in your cells, maybe. It's the echo. And this is one of your archetypal resources, that joy. What did you notice? Does anybody want to share something that she noticed? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was joy without reason. Try to stay there, coming from the lowest chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Just started here, and then I try to, as you said, the anchor point, I tried to shift this anchor point. And then I realized when I shift my anchor point more downwards in my body, the joy is like bubbling up, like you said, bubbling up. And then it came as waves. Mm-hmm. This is a new experience for me that I have access consciously. So I can move the joy somehow in my body. I didn't know before. It's quite a thing.
Quite a thing.
Thank you.
Cool. Cool.
So the point, the anchor point, this was like the distinction for me, mm-hmm. that land. Where does the joy come from in my body? Mm-hmm. And yeah, and I can move it. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. And you went quite to a certain, like, quite a level of joy. How many % do you reckon?
I don't know. Not so much. Let's say 40 to 50 or so. So not ecstatic.
Not ecstatic, and yeah. something like that.
And my how is it called? The Zwerchfell, Phrenis?
I don't know.
Started
The diaphragm.
Started really moving.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 like a trampoline.
Trampoline. Engage the trampoline. Yeah.
Boom,
Yeah, cool.
boom.
Mm,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to hear how it was for you, Amber. I can't hear you. Can you come closer?
It was too fast for me.
Mm.
Somehow I couldn't just make the shift. I'm actually in a totally liquid state since 24 hours, or since yesterday. Since yesterday, I think it's just too many other things going on in my body. So I enjoyed just being here. I couldn't make the joy grow because there's too many other things going on now. So
Yeah, thank you for that. For being with what's, where you want to go or where you can go right now. Is there anything that you need in this space?
Well, I don't know if I share it anyway now because it just popped up, yesterday.
Amber, can you get somewhat closer to your mic? It's
okay.
Really, thank you.
I just want to share this now because because you ask now. It's at the beginning of the talk you mentioned the white prince, the prince on the white horse. And I mean, I really have to say I'm really liquid. I mean, I'm almost vaporizing. I'm so anyway, but yesterday I went for a walk, and I always go to one of the places in the woods where I have some time for a moment, and I'm sitting there being really liquid, and all of
Don't push it away. Yeah.
All of a sudden it came back again, this image me sitting on a white horse and being totally wild, and I feel so connected to horses and to white horses, and I don't know why I'm sharing this now, but it's something is there that how could that ever fit in any category? How could such a wild nature force ever be categorized? So
yeah,
I don't know, this is getting wild here. I don't know, this is where I am at now. It's just all a bit confusing this morning.
Yeah, I encourage you to really stay in your liquid state and not try to make sense of it.
Yes.
No. So be here with your liquidity.
Thank you.
And being your sovereign is honoring where you're at. It's not, it's going as far as you want to go or not going. you don't have to do anything in this space to please me, or I don't expect any outcome.
Yes. Thank you.
And I hear that there's this realization or remembering in you of this wildness in you, the woman or the person on this horse, on the white horse, that wildness that doesn't fit into any category.
Yes, and you know, I mean, it touched me because you mentioned at the beginning the prince on the white horse, and I feel like, my God, why a prince? I am the white horse. So
you are the white horse.
This is like really getting, I don't know, this is like really way beyond the edge, and it's like there is no prince anymore there. There seems to be just horses there.
I feel joy at hearing that. Yes, it's just horses. Yeah. Yeah, what if the story of the prince on the white horse was not a lie in that there's no prince on the white horse, but the lie was that we're actually the horse.
Yes.
You are the horse that you're waiting for. Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that into the space. Because that's essentially, you know, being sovereign doesn't only include joy. It's just a very important aspect that I realized is often cut off, and in this body of work as well, we dive into the sadness, into the anger, into the fear, and the joy comes as a bonus sometime along the way. And yeah, and it's so important. It's so important to create something different, or to be the wildness, you know, to acknowledge the wildness has that life force of joy in it as well, and all the others. It's like, that's really the wildness that you described for me as the sovereign power. Of course, a horse has a wild sovereignty, like a wild horse, especially. But a horse has this. Any animal, you can look at animals and you see that instantly, and you see that in people. Yeah. So thank you for being on the ride wherever it will lead, or not even being on the ride, for being the horses in whichever shape and form and color and speed you want to go. So,
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Emba, for this image with the horse, as I realized somehow to it as yeah, the horses, they are amazing animals that man with a big M like tried to harness. Is it correct word? Like try to make it obey somehow, to create kind of a friendship, which can be mainly in one side, like for the pleasure of the man one. So being able to realize that actually there is some horses which can't be dominated, and it's within us, that it's good to remember that.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Let's see what's next. Or is there something from you that, anything else from you, or otherwise I'll take the next step into not knowing. Okay. Yeah, so the sovereignty, and let's stay with a horse for now. Like what I get the image, and what I'd already just mentioned is this, and Pauline, what you said fits in with that. It's like a classical modern culture monarch would be the guy on the horse, because the horse would be the subject of the man or the monarch. So they're sitting on top and they're steering it, and they've trained it and they feed it, but they also have control. It's being in control. Yeah, and the sovereignty that I'm talking about, that we're talking about here, is that we're not even sitting on the horse, we are the horse. We are this power of nature, the wildness. And that's what I mean with being in our sovereign power, with all the sensitivity that comes with it, with all the wildness that is the wanting to move the body, the wanting to go where we want to go, the roaming freely, the sense for freedom, the connection to everything that is. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, let that be there. And I got this message from a Maori elder just a couple of days ago as well, where we had this really brief encounter, and he said, yeah, and I said to him, yes, we just need to connect with ourselves. And he looks me straight into the eyes and he says, no, we don't have to connect with ourselves. We already are connected with ourselves. We just need to remember. And that really landed in me. It's like, yeah, remembering our sovereign power, remembering the wildness. Yes, Amber. Don't push it away. Let it be here. Yeah. Okay, let's go into breakout sessions, and I want to take some space to share. Like we'll go in pairs, and then make space that one person will center herself, ground herself, make an energetic bubble, and then speak from not knowing. So what I need to remember about myself is, and you share without knowing what it is, like which sovereign power is, what is it about yourself that you need to remember, that you want to remember. So giving yourself these answers. And that's going to go for 4 minutes, and then we'll swap. And the other one will go, and then we'll meet again in this. Are there any questions?
Sorry, Julia, I didn't understand very well what you're
Yeah.
expecting from us.
Okay, so yeah, you might not be familiar with the tools that I mentioned. So you center yourself, meaning you put your energetic center on top of your physical centers. With your intention, you make sure, we can do that together now. So just put your feet on the ground, like wherever you are, in your room or in your van, Pauline.
Yep.
And then you will have your energetic center somewhere, and your energetic center usually goes where your attention goes. So if you're thinking about something, it will be in your head. If you're thinking about the future, it's in the future. So you find that where is your energetic center, and you pull that down into your physical center, which is just below your belly button, in your belly, inside your belly. So that's your physical center, and you want your energetic center to lie on top of that, to be right there, so that you can really be present in the moment.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have this capacity to declare what is. And you can enhance that by clicking with your fingers. And with that, you click with your fingers and you declare a grounding cord that goes from your center down into the center of the earth. So I'll do that together. And through that grounding cord, we are connected, because if we're all connecting to the earth, we're connected with each other energetically right now. And feel really how that grounding gives you some weight, and to really be in your body and be really connected with this earth, just through the weight of your body, really sinking into that. And then you can click again. You can declare energetic bubble around you. This is your space, so just around your physical body, and make sure it goes especially around your head and the back of your neck and your back, also your feet. This is your energetic space, so no one else has anything to do in that, and it's your responsibility to make it as big or as small as necessary in the moment. Now that you all have a bit of space around you, you can make it a bit bigger. Just make sure it's in your own, filled with your own energy. And that is the place from which I want you to speak now. And the other person that's listening, I want you to listen from that space. So the person listening, don't speak, simply make a space so that the information can go through you into the universe, into this space of listening. And I'll assign some, and you can stay in that. So put some awareness on that. Keep some awareness, splitting your attention. Keep some awareness on your center, on your grounding cord, on your energetic bubble. And from that place, you'll go into a breakout room in twos. One person shares, what I need to remember about myself is, and then you speak without knowing what comes out. Or what I need to remember about my power is. Yeah, what I need to remember about my power is. Okay, any other questions? Okay, then have fun. Vivian, I'll join you in room 3. Okay. Or wait, I'll do that a bit different. I'll move Pauline to Vivian. And Amber, can you just stay in the main room with me? Okay, all right, have fun.
So I don't change.
Yes, you don't change, you just sit here. Okay, and I'll just put and I'll just write something into the chat. Okay. Do you want to start, or is there anything else that you need right now?
Can I start with being the listener?
Yeah, you can. Okay. What I need to remember about my, oh, kann ich auf Deutsch machen? I know, I'm recording. What I need to remember about my power right now is that that it is always there, and it has always been there. what I need to remember about my power is that I don't even have to do anything to push it or anything like that, because it's already here. And that to remember that it's not connected to other people. So it's really it's my life force, and it's what's coming now is my sadness. What I need to remember about my power is that my sadness is powerful. Because this is my connection to the world and to myself. What I need to remember about my power is that it is something about it is unseen. It's not about seeing or being seen with power. It comes back to it's there, and it doesn't matter whether other people see it or not, whether other people acknowledge it or not. That it is mine to harness. It is mine to express. It is mine to feel. I feel fear in my fear and anger in my jaws. What I need to remember about my power is my power to speak and to express myself freely without regards of all the buts and ifs that will come back. That's where I hold my power back. Thank you. I'm going to write into the breakout rooms to change. Thank you for listening. I need to put another I just want to put otherwise it's so violent. Okay. Please start.
So what I need to remember about my power
Yeah, don't hold it back.
what I remember about my power is that nature is in me, that I am nature, that I am life force. That there's this part in me that that cannot be dominated and that never will be dominated. There's this part in me that wants to run, that wants to dance, that is dancing, that is running, that is pure instinct, pure life force, pure intuition. I remember being the power of connection. I remember being the power of seeing. I remember being the power of sensing the world. I remember being a power for taking a stand of being the world and being myself at the same time. I remember being the power of just being channel all the time and letting life run through me. I remember being the power of letting connection, of connecting, of networking with humans and beings and nature and futures and pasts. I remember being the power of being prepared, of sensing what is coming, of being formless and being formed for a second and change again. I remember being the power of eternal renovation, of always changing, of that thin line of breathing in and out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay there for a moment, please. Okay, I'll call the others back. So they have 60 seconds to come back. I want to say thank you for remembering.
Thank you, Julia.
Welcome back, Vivian.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Wahine, that's the word for women in Maori, and I find it very appropriate for some reason. Thank you for what's that?
It is a beautiful word.
Yeah, I need to look into the aspects of it. And thank you all for remembering. Thank you all for remembering your power. And this space, if any of you wants to share something that you remembered or you found out you need to remember that you didn't know about before, like something that surprised you or something that touched you, I'd love to hear about that or bring that into the space.
Yeah, for me, it was about connecting, connecting to the universe in a way. I mean, I could feel that I have been kind of shutting away the energies. But now I remembered, and I felt like there was like a flow energy like through, coming here through my back and out through my chest, and just being being connected and being a being, and not having or to kind of push away all the stories I have about that I'm different and I'm alone, and like there's some kind of wall between me and the rest of the world, and to kind of break that wall, or no, not even break that wall, but just to vanish it just by saying that there isn't any wall. Just kind of to see that there wasn't really any wall. It was just a kind of mirage that I thought was a wall. Thank you.
And I want to add, I was in the breakout room with Annika, that her shape changed, that your shape changed, Annika. Your face changed totally into something really bright and shining.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the observation and sharing that, which is also part of keeping it alive and remembering, being witnessed and receiving the feedback of the witness. So yeah, welcome also sharing what you witnessed, if there's anything. Anything else, any other treasures you found that you want to share in celebration or in, yeah, because you're touched or because you wanted to be remembered by others as well?
I want to tell you, Annika, that what you just shared totally resonated with me. And it seems to be a mystery of, I mean, I don't know if this is just for the queens or also for the kings, but let's say now it's at least for the queens, that there is this that there is this thing of formlessness and taking a stand for formlessness. And it's so I feel for me that this is the power of being the queen, of not having to define these wild forces or these big forces, and yet allowing them and serving with them and allowing them and taking a stand and not having to fix it or to stop it or to categorize them.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I would like to pick up this piece of formlessness Amber just mentioned, because for me the experience was very strong, how I have this form, this kind of shape of memories or experiences, and these are not really true. The place I come from is different. It's much bigger than this form I'm in. The place which I come from or which I remember is much bigger and more abundance. It's, you cannot compare. It's abundance and light, and then it's reduced to this form, and I can change this form. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Abundance and formlessness. Vivian, you looked very moved when you came out of this space. You looked like something touched you. Will you share with us whether my observation is correct and what it was?
Yes, I felt really connected. My body was feeling a lot of, it's kind of something was running in my body, running, and I was feeling a lot. And as I was speaking through images that was coming to me. So I was in the middle. I was connected with this cord coming from me to the Mother Earth, but also me to the sky, to the higher. So I'm connected to myself in a higher space where I'm come from. That I have three. I am three. So this, my body here is heavy. So I was feeling like heavy here on earth, but the other two much lighter, different informations in each of them, different technologies, different information in each one of them. But I need to remember that I need to walk here with these three connected. This tree is bigger. These three have a lot of love and have a lot of different things that connected and makes me one. And then I need to remember every day every day that I'm this tree connected, and I can walk, and I can go through, I can decide, I can walk. Yeah. But I felt really strong in my body and in my cells. So it was really powerful, was very intense. I felt really intense, all that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And that's like so beautiful to hear what becomes possible when you feel yourself. It becomes possible that you become a walking tree. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pauline, do you want to share anything?
Well, I was not familiar with this exercise, so I really learned a lot from Vivian when she did it. Like I could understand a bit more the direction of this exercise, because the only thing I've been able to connect to was somehow that what gives me the power in my day-to-day life somehow is connected to painful feelings. And but it's how to turn it into good, and acknowledging that by feeling these painful feelings, I actually have the power to what I was experiencing is more my empathy for the world and things which happens around me. And it's a bit messy in my head. It's a bit hard to
Thank you, and that's
put
great.
it into words.
It's great if it's messy. That's great. That tells me you're getting to something important, valuable. Because these things,
yeah. I'm listening.
These things don't make sense in our head. They're not designed to make sense in our head. So I'm aware you don't have this distinction about feelings so much. So I'm glad you could explore some of it. And when you say you feel empathy, I suspect that you felt like a kind of sadness, that would be the quality of the sadness, to feel connected, to feel empathy. So, yeah.
Yeah, sadness and anger also. And I was talking especially about animals and all the innocent beings that people just use and abuse. And I can see that, I can feel it. I can feel how such a strong impact it has in me, in my soul, in my body, how much energy it drains all the time. Or in my country, in France, we are talking a lot now about street harassment, and that's good. It's getting up, like people are aware of this. But in my day-to-day life, I somehow feel harassed by violence and brutality and cruelty, and people don't realize how it can be violent for me.
Can you say more about how you feel harassed? Or by what?
A simple example. I was driving a few weeks ago, and on the side of the road, So in New Zealand, I was driving. On the side of the road, there was a horse. We were talking about white horse. It was a black horse, and he was tied to a pole, and he was like maybe 1 or 2 meters from the main road. And I was, whoa, doesn't look right. And this horse obviously looks very nervous. He was walking backward and forward, and his head was moving everywhere. He was definitely not still and quiet. So I returned, I parked, and I observed, and there was actually a bucket of water. So he was tied here on purpose. And I felt, what is this? How this is possible? So there was just an advertisement on the top, and I said, hey, I was just driving by and I saw your sign, and is it normal there is a horse tied just here next to the road? He said, oh no, I'm not aware about it. Must be a farmer, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he contacted me back saying that he contacted the farmer. And this is totally normal. It's to cut off the grass.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I said, so basically you will put these animals for days to cut this grass, knowing that it gives that animal a lot of pain to be alone under that heat with no shadow, while you could have taken your whippersnipper and do this in 15 minutes.
Mm.
Is this word normal? Is it normal? And he felt, no worries, it is okay. And that's this kind of gap. I feel I will never fill up the gap between mentalities and lack of empathy and connectedness, I would say, connectivity. Sorry for my English.
Mm.
So this kind of details are everywhere, everywhere around me. It can be just a word, how people are talking to each other, how just, I don't know. And it's again and again. It's again and again. And I have to protect myself to not be surrounded by people who I have to be surrounded by people who are aware of this kind of things. So I can enjoy my energy instead of always trying to protect it and to fill it up again.
Mm.
But what I was saying to Viviane is that I know that I am not an animal. I have my voice. I have my voice. And I can say no. I can say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be there. I want this. I don't want that. And I have to remember that to make honor of all those beings who doesn't have any voice. And I felt like I've been somehow mutic for a while in my life, that I didn't allow myself to speak up, to say, to share, to explain. And now I am living a shifting in my life that I authorize myself just in to honor all those animals and all those humans as well, because it's not only animals. So many humans in the planet doesn't have much choice but to endure horrible life conditions. So I have this power, and this painfulness I feel from life, from what happened around me, reminds me, instead of drawing me totally down, I have to remember that, okay, I will fight forever to keep in that stage of power, and I will do my best to be able to speak up for those innocents. So that's somehow where I went in this little exercise.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So I hear you do tap into your anger to say yes and no, and you feel the pain. So I would really encourage you to find ways to be in your power there, to stay in your power and not felt some fear around at some point where you said something around you need to surround yourself only with people that honor that. Yes, and feeling the pain is actually really valuable, because only when we feel it we can change it. And what you're angry, this the saying by Clinton Callahan, or what he said is, what you're angry about is what you care about. So you can really, I just want to remind you, yes, you can use this anger to really stand up for these beings that you care about so much. And we have a few rage clubs going this month, which can help you strengthen that capacity in yourself. So just want to mention that.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you very much. Because
Okay.
I would just wanted to say, it's what I feel. It's not just for the animal in itself. It's not just for the individual. It's that feeling that someone can think this is okay to do this to an animal, to do this to a child, to do this to a woman, to do this to a patient, to do this to anyone. Just this thought that some people think it's okay. This, yeah, so it's very like kind of universal. It can apply in so many ways. But yeah.
And what I hear there is that you care about this planet and about living beings on this planet. And I want to, if it's okay, can I share what you said? One thing you said, Amba, is about nature. Can I share that? So I heard you say, Amba shared that, to remember that she is nature. And I know that from myself as well, that I got to that point of, yes, I am nature as well. So if we're all nature, whatever happens to animals, whatever happens to us human beings, it's all connected, like it's not separate. So you care about nature, Pauline, that's what I hear. And yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. We've got 17 minutes left, and I'd like to, there's two things I would still like to do or to offer you. Are you still up for an experience? Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. So then let's do first a little reclaiming our sovereignty walk. So for this exercise, I hope you have a bit of space to stand up and walk. You don't have to be in front of the camera. We'll do it for about 2 minutes. For you as a reference, Pauline, just come back after 2 minutes.
Okay.
So what we do is we stand up, and standing up, again, grounding ourselves, centering, really making this conscious intention of having our energetic center in our belly, on top of our physical center, feeling the connection to earth, to Papatuanuku, to Gaia, through this grounding cord that you just remember to click it again if it's gone, and click your energetic bubble around yourself. And then I invite you to switch on like a little bit of your anger energy, even if you don't know how it goes, Pauline, just do it anyway. So you switch that on, just in terms of, you can make a fist and just activate your anger energy in your body a little bit. And when you've got that, you switch the fear to run into that system, like separate from the anger, but it runs into your body as well, held by the bones, your nervous system. It's feeling the fear, the low intensity of fear, without knowing how it goes, just with your intention to hold that. And then you switch on your sadness, a little bit of sadness to come into your muscles, to soften your body. And it's separate from the fear and the anger. And then you switch on a little bit of joy to run through your cells, in all cells of your body, feeling that energy of joy. And with that, I invite you to walk around your space and you look at it as the queen. You walk like a queen, and every thing around you that you encounter, look at it from this place of, I own this and it owns me. It's like, it's an honor to own something. It comes with responsibility. And when you see a plant, you can really connect with that plant from that place of, I'm a sovereign, you're a sovereign. So it's not about power over, but it's this is my land. So just walk around for a minute or 1.5 minutes, maximum 2 minutes. I'll call you back. And I'd like you to make a screenshot, like in your body memory, of what it's like when you walk like a queen. You may have done it before, but like really remembering what it's like when you own this world. And when I say that, I don't mean, yeah, I said that before, but I don't mean in the classical sense of the world, in this word, in the sense that we've learned the word owning something. But for me, it's really, it's reciprocal. It's like, with it comes this responsibility and this honor of being part of the whole. And this, like, when I own the land, like, I don't own this house, but I can still own it. Or I don't own the land, like when I walk to the river, I don't own the forest, but I can still own it. I can still walk through it as the sovereign and feel the joy of being the queen of such a beautiful land and being owned by it at the same time. So that's something that you can take home with you as well, is to really consciously walk, especially in nature, with that sense of sovereignty of, I'm the queen of, and this is my land. Not from a place of power over, but from this place of connection and joy of being part of it. Right, and then is there anything pressing to share about that? Otherwise, I'd like to continue into one more exercise in a breakout room. Okay, then we'll go into a breakout room, and that will be 2 minutes each person. So one goes first. Again, and from that reference of being the sovereign, yeah, I invite you to celebrate yourself. So we did that in a Rage Club space holder training recently, so some of you are familiar with that. Like allow yourself to brag about yourself, to tell legends about what you can do and what you've done, or like really celebrate yourself and brag, or like open your as a queen, you have this big treasure chest and you can open it up and you take out all these jewels and you look at them and you let them run, take the gold and let it run through your fingers and share it with the other person. It'll be 2.5 minutes each. Any questions? Then, okay, I'll assign the rooms. Vivian, will you stay in the main room with me, please? Okay, cool. And I'll open the rooms and have fun. Okay. Just gonna. Okay. Do you want to start, Vivian?
Yes.
Okay, go.
All right. Oh, I have my treasure box and I'm gonna open it. It's a lot of shining things, golden color. So what is about me that is in this box is a lot of courage, a lot of strength, a lot of power, a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of dreams, a lot of connection, a lot of questions and adventures that I want to go through, a lot of happiness and joyfulness, a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of connections with others.
What is it that you do? What is it that you do really well, Vivian? What is
that I do really well?
Yes, or what you are really well. Like, what is it?
I think it's a courage.
Courage. What else? Like, give me examples. When were you really courageous? Give me examples.
I can die so many times in this life and be reborn. And I have courage to do that. In one life, I can die and I can have a rebirth and I can come alive again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel it. Yeah, it's a lot of courage to do that. Courage to change, courage to try, to do different.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to write to the others to change.
Yes.
Do you want to brag some more? I feel there's much more if you allow yourself to drop in. Do you want to brag some more?
Yeah, but then your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll need to do that in the possibility team as well. So I'm slowly learning to wave those, to ride the wave of the not knowing and to go with the space, like to follow, to see where the space needs to go, or to like, none of the experiments today I had planned. So I went there from what was here. And so my capacity to be with what is, I celebrate that. And I also like my commitment to look at the next layer and look at the next layer and the next layer, like really diving deep into this exploration of where is my power, where is it, and what's the next layer of like it's like taking off the earth, the dust that's on top of it, and taking off layers of dust so that it can really shine, or polishing the gold or something like that. Remembering and the courage also to go to scary places and to reinvent myself as well, like from being a lawyer to being me, who I am now. And I celebrate little things. I celebrate like when I really look after myself, and I go into like this morning I saw the sunshine, and then I just allowed myself to go for a swim instead of doing other things. So allowing myself to nourish my being through walks in nature, through going for a swim, through being creative with pottery. So I celebrate that capacity of myself to allow myself these being spaces. Thank you. I'm going to call the others back.
Thank you.
So I want to say, I hear and see and feel that you're also an amazing mother.
Yes.
I want to make sure that doesn't end up under the carpet, that goes into the treasure box.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Ay, ay. Thank you, Julia. I'm so grateful to have you in my life and being part of my journey and meeting you and all that. Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being on this journey, sharing it. Okay. Welcome back, Queens. Oh,
Yeah, I will turn off my video.
okay. Okay, so our journey together into the queendom of 6 sovereign women comes to an end. Thank you for traveling with us all together, journeying, riding, being the horse, looking at the horse, feeling it from the inside, and exploring together. Really appreciate that you were here and that you allowed yourself to explore. So yeah, where to from here? We'll see. This could be a beginning for each one of us to explore more of that. And yeah, I get the sense that it's so valuable really to go into Rage Club. And yeah, so any of you who's not been in one, go. Anyone who hasn't held one, go. And I'm telling that to myself too. So, and
Go.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll publish this somewhere, I think on my page, so you'll be able to revisit as often as you like.
Thank you, Julia, for inviting to this space.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks
For
you.
sharing.
It's kind of a special waking up morning meditation on our part of the world.
Yeah, you can do that. Stepping out of bed, stepping into your queen suit or something. Make that a practice. Okay, I'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Please
Thank
share
you,
more.
Julia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll hang around for a couple of minutes if anybody has something to ask or speak about. Stop the recording.